Just two for redundancy and safety.
Yeah, one can die, and then you also can move between views. And then this guy from California asked us to come in his van and make a movie. And that's when I was like, man, I don't know.
Do you want a San Diego?
You remember that?
Sure. I need something to do with my hands. I'm like, I don't know what to
Hello, and welcome to the first installment of From the Van, a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with friends about their relationships with residential vehicles, whether it's a box truck, a converted school bus, a little bitty camper van, a giant Sprinter, or maybe even a trailer, an RV, who knows. Today's guests are Julie and Heath. They just got married in October. Heath is wonderful, and Julie is one of my oldest friends. We met just before college in a pre-orientation program, and we've been great friends ever since. And it's a wonderful pleasure to be able to run into them in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're going to sit around and drink some beers and bullshit until we're tired of it, and you get to listen to it. You're welcome. Also remember to follow and all that stuff at From the Van. You can just click a link in the Instagram, and that'll lead you to where you need to go to validate my existence. Welcome to the first episode of From the Van.
Oh, we originally got a van because of work. I'm a sales rep in the climbing industry, and we always got to haul around a bunch of shit. And but we also got to stay places for an extended period of time, so we thought, why not get a van and kind of start building it out. We had an old Sprinter back in the day called Master Sprinter, and Master Sprinter was one of a kind special, rust holes and everything. It had its own patina, you know.
I've seen that van.
You know the program, yeah, for sure. Old diesel, but it had no heat. We literally had water freeze so hard one night that we could pour it out, and it would freeze as you poured the water out, like
Holy
flash freezing.
Where was that?
In Utah.
Right outside Salt Lake.
Our first road trip together.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was negative 24 degrees outside.
Yeah, we should say you guys got married on October 20th or 21st?
21st, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we sold our house in September while I was in the mountains. Julie sold my house before we were married.
Oh,
I signed his name.
She had no legal rights to sell the house.
Oh, so you have an out. If you need the house back, you can get it back.
He does not want the house
she
back.
defrauded you before you were married.
Literally in the woods for 10 days straight, no contact. We summited the mountain and we got cell phone service enough that I could check in with her. And I call her and she's like, hey, so you know I sold your house.
That's awesome, dude. That's a freaking fantastic deal. You guys, but you're like quasi full-time in the van, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically it's our only permanent home.
That's true.
For sure. But we're like in Chattanooga for the winter, living in an Airbnb because, you know, we're wintering down here. It's lovely.
The thinking there was that you didn't want to be wet and cold in the van?
No, the thinking was that we wanted to stretch out and like eat in a real kitchen. And have real food and have friends over.
It's kind of hard, I think, to live in a city for 2 months to climb. Like to do what we're going to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just taking it easy.
In the winter. Also,
dinner was great tonight, but I also like to think of myself as a pretty easy guest.
Oh.
Because all I'm going to do is take a shit and shower at your place.
Well, way to take the pride out from underneath this man.
Dinner was optional, and thank you.
Yeah. No, but we moved into the van this summer full time, and that was cool. We went to Wyoming and rock climbed for a month, and the van was perfect. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to been in a place then. Like the van literally gave us everything that we needed, and traveling out to there, and in the process of getting out there was really good too.
Yeah. So. I want to talk about your current van, but I also want to go back to Master Sprinter. Master Sprinter for a second.
Yeah.
Were you like, if it's that cold that water freezes in midair, like, how were you staying alive? Just like tech gear and shit? Like sleeping in like high-tech sleeping bags or what?
We have a propane heater.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the crazy thing is that the heat only heated like the top 4 feet of the van, right? Like the thing was insulated.
Oh, yeah.
But it only heated like the top 4 feet of the van, and the water was sitting down on the floor, and due to like thermal bridging, the condensation had formed ice crusts on every screw that touched through the insulation in the metal.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I have a buddy who's like a surf filmmaker who stays in I think his is a Mercedes, but it might be an old Freightliner. Sprinter, like a real old one, like a 2002 or something like that.
I think that's what ours was.
And he has a wood stove with a stovepipe coming out
we just saw one of those.
the ceiling. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you in now?
We're in a 2017 Promaster.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, kind of built it out with recycled materials, stuff that had been torn out of dilapidated buildings in Frankfurt. So some of the wood in there is like over 100 years old, but then there's also like a cabinet from Lowe's. So it's like, yeah.
It's like mostly hand built, but then some square stuff too.
I like to call it old century modern.
But you built it like stupid fast too, right?
2 days.
Jesus Christ.
That was helpful.
Minus insulation and wiring. Like I had it insulated, I had it wired.
He had already cut the vents in.
Cut the vents in.
Yeah. So
the woodwork
it was
all
building
in.
out the inside.
2 days, yeah.
What's your... I meant to ask you this earlier, and I'm glad that I didn't, because it'll be fresh now. What's your history in terms of, like, construction, carpentry? Like,
My
what do you...
history is in construction. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Because I'll say, and I've been looking for validation for the way that I waterproofed the top of this thing, because there are people in the RV world that say Dicor self-leveling lap sealant, and if you don't use that, then you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? And I used silicone, and so when I texted Julie and I was like, "What did you use?"
Right.
And she's like, 100% silicone. I'm like, maybe I'm not a turd after all. And it works fucking great.
It
so
works
far.
great, and that's the thing. I think it's just durability. Like I think that the other stuff is like it's like nicer, right? Like shit. A lot of stuff when it comes to building out vans, I think, is like there's this way you can do something. If you were to add a percentage to like how much better it is, it would be like 3% better. It is better, right? Like so, like if you can do the best thing, you can do the best thing. Nathan, that guy, fucking. You know, we met a guy from Scarpa that like he was like talking about how good Scarpa climbing shoes were, and he was like, "Oh, most of the stuff in the Scarpa climbing shoes like 3% better than the other shoe." He's like, "But it's better,"
And that's significant. Right?
It adds up.
It's just better.
It's for every piece, and then it all adds up to make a much better product.
So that self-leveling whatever the hell you just said, like it's probably better, but silicone works too.
Works.
Like it's on every roof on every house in Chattanooga right now. They use silicone to seal the shit up. Like my van's okay, and it's not really hard to get on top of it.
Yeah. When I was cutting this hole, like Colette, I hadn't had a car in 8 years. And
you have a new one.
And my girlfriend drives me on July the 4th. I'm like, I found this van that I want to buy. Can you take me to Fontana, which is like 2 hours on July the 4th, driving away from, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees there. Can you please drive me to this place? I want to buy a car. And it's a 2016. It's not brand new, but I had low mileage. And so it was like a serious financial investment for me. And the first thing I had to do was cut this 14 by 14 foot hole in the top of it. I was so fucking scared, man.
Yeah.
And I bet you probably didn't have that fear in the same way.
You did a little bit.
I mean, it was weird because it was a new rig. Same thing.
Yeah, you were like, I have to cut a hole
And this
in
is a pretty good hack too, man. If you're wanting to get into a bigger van, Enterprise does a 1-year lease on these. So on the Promaster. So Enterprise will use them for 1 year, and then after that they just, and not even 1 year. I think they have kind of a mileage cap.
Is that what you did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we got 2017
Fleet
in
vehicle.
September of 17 with 17,000 miles. It's like 17's a lucky number. And it was really cheap. I mean, like 23 grand or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about what I paid for this, and you have a lot bigger home than me.
We could put your van in my van.
Yeah, definitely. What sort of mileage do you get?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think like 17.
Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just put gas in it when it needs it and don't think about it.
We put some like shit kicker tires on it so it'll go places in the mud and like, don't worry about it getting stuck. And
It's still two-wheel drive though, yeah?
yeah, but it's front wheel.
Okay.
So yeah, it does really good on my
This is
roads.
rear wheel, and I was trying to back up in my buddy's landlord's muddy yard the other day in Tuscaloosa. It's barely got a pitch at all, and I started going backwards, and I was just digging a hole, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I get 22, so that's cool. But it's a tight space.
Is it a gas motor?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah. Was your Sprinter a
Diesel.
Yeah.
what
The old
was it,
diesel.
a Dodge or a Freightliner or
Mercedes.
Mercedes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. The only thing, it just didn't have any heat and it didn't have any air conditioning. So like, it was like Sufferfest.
Whoa, yeah.
The worst was while driving when it was cold. It was freezing in the front.
Yeah,
we had to put a heater on for our feet in the front.
Oh, wow.
While driving the car.
And wear down pants and down booties.
I was wearing in the passenger seat down booties, down pants inside of a down sleeping bag.
Wow.
Sitting there.
Just in the van.
It was minus
It was
36 out when we crossed the mountain pass.
It was very cold.
Yeah.
It was so...
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
And those old, like, the old, like, Sprinters have the bulkhead, or not bulkhead, I don't know what they call the thing in the front, but, like, you could just literally put your hand down and feel cold air just coming in, like, negative.
Oh, it's like...
On the outside.
No insulation whatsoever.
No.
That's hilarious. What's your electrical system like? What do you...
We run an inverter with, I don't know what size, we just got a big deep cycle marine battery. And then we got a 3,000 watt inverter, which is a little bit overkill. I wanted to be able to run tools off of it, so we got something really big. And plus, she likes to cook with the Instant Pot, so that also draws a lot of power.
Yeah.
But that 3,000 watt inverter does eat a lot of the battery life.
I'm sure.
Even just by turning it on. So you got to keep the inverter off all the time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
We'd like to add solar, but we don't know.
Because you might sell your van.
We might sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you get another one, or what are you thinking about if you do it?
Instantly.
What do you have your eyes on?
I don't know.
Another one of those?
Probably. I like the Promaster. I worry about they say the transmissions are classic Dodge. You know, like the
I've heard
transmissions
that.
are kind of bad to go out.
Yeah.
And we've had some issues with weather stripping. Like we've had like the weather stripping around the sliding door and the passenger door leak in real heavy rains.
Oh yeah, for
it's a brand new car, so that's a little weird.
And the headlight.
and
the headlight
they burn
keeps burning.
headlights out like crazy.
But only one of them.
Only one.
You really shouldn't be able to do a better job waterproofing your roof than the manufacturer does waterproofing your door. Yeah. Which is a vertical service.
Yeah, I've got a video of water like dripping.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Gnarly. Yeah.
But
would you go back to a Sprinter? Because that's sort of what I fantasize about.
So I like the width of the Promaster because you can I'm 5'11" and I can lay down and like really comfortably.
Oh, so it's wider than your
Sprinter for sure.
Sprinter was.
The Sprinter,
that's why the Promaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taller.
Really?
Yeah. We had a Sprint when we had the Sprinter. We had the bed sideways as well, but we would sleep at a diagonal and in spoons. And then I went on a road trip with my daughter. And it was like diagonal and spoons with your kids, not really appropriate.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. And so we turned the bed around long ways, which was really nice, but it took away a whole lot of that space.
Yeah.
And isn't the Promaster's a little longer, isn't it? The one we have is longer than the Sprinter was.
I can't remember.
Because of the bench, remember?
That looks like a really big one to me from the outside.
It's the second largest. So there's like the little stubby guy, there's this ours, and then there's one more that's bigger. That's what we need is running water.
Yeah, it's been great, but
we kind of have the same thing without the sink. Because we have the
5-gallon. That was?
No, I like that. I'm just saying. We have the 5-gallon with an electric pump.
Where does it go
under the sink? It just comes straight out of the top, and it's we just
out of the top of the bottle.
Yeah, like
so you have like a little spout that comes out of the top of the.
But it's electric, so it's just a button.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
you can flip it over. Mine is German.
It looks German.
Oh, that's not the. I don't know where that came from. My I have like a submersible pump.
Yeah. How does your what delivers pressure to your water?
The submersible pump.
The submersible pump.
Yeah.
So when you lift it up, there's already pressure on it at all time, or
no? So they're like what are they called? Attenuators or actuators or some shit like that will keep it pressurized. But there's so little distance between my thing that by the time I have to flip this switch to turn the pump on, and then I open the valve, right? And so by the time I get to the valve a half second later, it's already pressurized. So, and one of the cool things about it is that like I gotta empty the line when I take the bottle out to refill it, the container, and I'll open that without opening this, and it'll let all the water gush that's in the line. So it's more or less pressurized most of the time anyway. That's sweet. Yeah.
I like it. It's like the least technical van talk in the world. You know, it's like, what's your first? I don't know. I got battery. It's got an oscillator on. It charges. It works pretty good. You know.
That's the thing that, like, for me, I've always said that if I had $10 million in my checking account, I would buy a shitty old house and knock it down and rebuild the house myself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't have that kind of funds. So this is my version of that, you know? And I just spent all summer on YouTube, like, okay, how's this?
Yeah. How long have you been in this van? 3 months?
Full time for 3 months. I finished it in 2.5 months, and I was very proud that I did it super fast. You did it in like, what is that, a 30th of the time that I took?
Something like that, yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Where'd you buy all your shit for the van? Like the inverter and you're running an isolator off of your...
eTrailer.com, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of the isolator online. I mean... Everything we just kind of ordered, the Max Air. We use the Max Air fans. We're really psyched on those.
They're dope.
They have proven to be amazing in like a heavy rain.
The customer service is not.
No, it was actually.
It ended up being good?
What'd you have to deal with them for?
I had a controller go out in my fan. So like when I got the fan, the controller's already bad. And then the controller ended up going out in like 6 months.
Do you mean the thing in the or the remote?
No, exactly what you tested. We don't have the remote control.
Me either. Yeah.
So the speed adjust and all that stuff and direction
just didn't work.
It just quit. The fan stayed on full time, but it was the middle of summer, so we just said fuck it and left the fan going 24/7, which was fine. And the battery held it. Like those don't use very much energy at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the fan was fine. It didn't hurt the battery at all. But it ran 24/7, which if you want to know if your van's dirty, run your fan on exhaust 24/7.
I got a bunch of... Yeah. Do you know how to clean that? That's the one thing I haven't YouTubed.
Pull the thing down and take it out and then wash it in the sink.
This thing?
See those little tabs?
Yeah.
Pull down on the tab and twist.
Do I need a key or something?
No, you just need to grab it.
Fingernails?
Yeah, get it.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
I see, twist and then pull down, and then you can take the thing out and scrub it. Oh, dope! That's good.
Ours has a lot of bugs on it.
A little bit fucking embarrassing.
It's like the belly button lint of your fan.
Yeah, this is all of the snot and dead skin that's spinning. If I have let go in the last little bit, I actually run it on exhaust when it's cooler out. Just because I want to keep air circulating, but especially because I'm sleeping with my head right under it, I'm gonna wake up with like crusty ass snot and like chapped lips if I sleep with it blowing in my face because I sleep with my head down here. I usually try to park nose down.
Yeah, we've got 2 fans, so we can in the summer get the thing rotating, and it's never really
decent.
that bad.
It's decent.
Yeah.
A guy I know has been trying to talk me into putting a hole in the bottom of my van since I only have one fan, so that I can...
to have a vent a little bit.
To
whatever.
It sketches me out there like pulling your air from underneath the car.
That's scary, and also putting a hole in the bottom of the van sounds like a
moisture coming up while you're driving.
Super duper rust magnet, you know? I saw somebody popped a piece of trim off the back of one of these and put a hole in the back corner so that it was when they put the trim back on, air could get through there, but it was still protected from like downfalling rain and stuff. But I think what I'm going to do is get those little plastic trim pieces to put on the windows so that I can keep them cracked even when it's raining.
Like the little
like
rain
a guard.
guards?
Yeah, little plastic rain guards or whatever.
I thought those were just so people could smoke cigarettes and have their window cracked while it's raining.
That's something.
I think that's also true.
I saw so much of that today. And cigarettes in California are like...
Yeah, they're not even legal, are they?
People, right, exactly. Like you walk down the street high on mushrooms smoking a joint, you're fine. But like, don't smoke a cigarette near a restaurant, dude. No, it's like, that's your way to rebel, is to smoke a cigarette in California. And I saw so many motherfuckers driving down the freeway when I was coming here today who were like in their car and it's completely closed up. There's somebody else in there and they're just puffing away. I'm like, oh God, dude, I'd suffocate. What do you need, mister?
Attention.
Yeah.
Back it up. Back it up.
Hi.
Wait. Oh, I meant to ask you about this. After you're in the Airbnb for a little bit, you guys are going to be in the van again, but you have like some sort of trip or something planned, right?
I'll be in Waco. I'm going to take the van to Texas to climb in Waco tanks, and Heath is going up north to ice climb, and then he'll come down to Waco and meet me.
Ice climb?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, you work
Exactly.
for outdoor companies. Are you like, do you work for a distributor, or do you just have a few different companies that
No,
you
so
work
I
for?
work directly with the brands, and Julie works with me now. So she's like kind of stepped out of acupuncture and is helping me run things. And, but we essentially control sales and marketing for different brands in a certain territory.
Yeah.
So some of the brands we work with from Michigan to Miami, some of them are just in the Southeast specifically, but all the brands are climbing centric. Almost all the brands are from Europe, so that's just like kind of a part of the model that we like to work with. You know, is like working with cool niche European brands. I don't know. They're probably just the only people that'll hire us. They have funny accents. I have a funny accent. It just all works out.
It works.
Yeah.
Where are you going
Yeah.
ice climbing? Where does that happen? Is that like a Switzerland thing?
He's
or?
going to Michigan.
Maine and New Hampshire first, and then Michigan. I've got I'll show you a brochure here, man. A little bit from the Michigan Ice Fest, but the UP of Michigan is like this. It's essentially Canada. We just somehow kept it. You know, whenever the French and Indians, everybody were fighting with each other, and we. But the North Shore of Mount Superior, Lake Superior, has these big, like, crusty sandstone cliffs, but these ice climbs form, and they like run right off these cliffs right into Lake Superior, and it's really dramatic. Like,
It's pretty cool.
200-foot
And you've
ice
got
flows
those
coming right out of the Lake Superior, sometimes frozen, sometimes not.
So I've never lived at more than like 200 feet of altitude. So, or like for any substantial time north of like 34 degrees latitude, you know? And so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I'm thinking about these things with the fork tines coming out of the front of your
Crampons,
boot
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. And how tall are these things? You're roped in, right? Because you don't want to fall in the lake.
No, yeah, you got a rope on for sure.
Okay.
I don't know, some of them are like 200 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Of just like sheer ice.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that was in the States.
Stuff we're doing
Oh,
in
yeah.
I thought of that
There's
as
a ton
being
of ice
like
climbing.
really high altitudes
The
elsewhere.
stuff in Maine is
It just
still
needs to
low
get cold.
altitude. It's just really far north.
It's just
Okay.
cold.
But that stuff's like 600 meters long, like 1,800 foot ice climbs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that everybody like migrates there for like a really short season of this, or what?
No. Some people go to Colorado and Utah or Wyoming for ice seasons. Not too many people go to the
Montana.
Northeast.
Right.
It's kind of brutal up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they actually have precipitation and
It's just
stuff.
wet and cold.
Yeah.
It's like it's
So
like
miserable.
it's a wet, humid cold up there.
Right. And what's the deal with Waco?
Waco Tank State Park is one of the biggest places to go bouldering
Okay.
in the country. In the world, I would say.
Yeah.
It has some world-class bouldering.
I wanna hook you guys up with this couple that I was talking about earlier that lives in
for sure.
Ivins, right outside of St. George. I think that Chad. Do you know Chad? Have you ever heard of Chad Perkins before? I think he pioneered found a bunch of spots around St. George and stuff.
We haven't really climbed in
what's his
St. George,
wife's
so we
name?
don't know.
They're not married. They just like fart in each other's bed. Her name's Danielle Mullen. She's a real good, longtime friend of mine.
Okay.
And they live in a. God, it's so crazy that like you think about living in like a really high demand place like Southern California, and then they went and bought. They live in a double wide trailer, and it's nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the deal is, you go out there, and I went to visit them with Spin, and it's like 3 minutes to the most beautiful, like red stone, climbing and hiking, and he took us because I was there with Spin and my sister. He took us canyoneering because we're not climbers.
Yeah.
That's
but
cool.
we were like scrambling on all this shit, and then we did a bunch of rappelling and stuff. It was like
Canyoneering's
nuts,
fucked
dude.
up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like it's like take all the skill out of climbing and just make shit dangerous, and that's canyoneering. You know,
You put my dumb ass with this dog in a backpack in a position where like I'm rappelling all of a sudden, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Spin, you go rappelling.
He did, dude. That was when he was like 15 pounds, though. 20 pounds. He
That
was
makes
a
no
baby.
sense. I was like, how does legs get in a back?
No, he's a giant ass backpack dog now.
Yeah, I like to climb big things, but Julie climbs like short things that are insanely hard. That I can't even
Like
get
the
my ass
opposite.
up. Like,
Yeah.
I get injured just trying to climb them. You know.
So do I.
What's the like a layman's explanation of what's like the technical difference between these two
Between ice climbing and bouldering, or between
he's saying that he wants to climb a giant route or whatever, and you're doing something that's short to the ground, bouldering or whatever, but it's more technical.
It's just it requires more strength. It does in one move, right? So it's more. It's just more difficult.
Strength per pound.
More
is
difficult
the thing, right?
moves, but there's less of them.
Right. Okay.
But they're
The thing that's always, because I have a bunch of friends who are climbers, and they've taken me climbing a little bit. I don't know what happened to the shoes that I got hand me down, but I can't find them. And I'm terrible at it because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
You would be such a good climber.
At the end of the day, or the next day, the only place I'm sore is right here in my forearms.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know there were muscles in there, man, from pinching on things and shit.
Just doing anything. It's the whole, it's holding on.
It's gnarly.
Yeah.
Because I could do a bunch of pull-ups, but
it's different.
That's not what it's about.
No.
Julie's specialty is like holds that are half of a finger pad.
Uh-huh.
And an angle that's overhanging.
Uh-huh.
That's like where she's good at.
Yeah.
Like grabbing, you're like, I don't even know. There aren't even things to grab a hold of. Like you couldn't even hang your shirt on this shit.
Spider shit.
Yeah. Yeah, spider shit.
Cool.
That'd be a good route name.
That would be good.
That's the thing, right? If you do the route first, you get to name it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that how it works?
The FA, the first ascent of a rock climb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spin's the only thing I've been allowed to name.
Yeah.
You can name your van?
Oh yeah, I did that too.
What's
I was
his
wrong.
name?
Jones.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of that. You know Van Jones, the commentator from CNN?
Mm-hmm.
No.
He's like a very emotive, progressive dude. He's not... He often gets like a little ahead of himself and like says exactly what he's thinking on television, and he will not hold himself back from crying and stuff, and he's like a really empathetic, like sweet dude.
That's cool.
And his name's Van. I was like, okay, here we go.
He'd be honored.
I tag him in all my fucking Instagram posts. What I want to do, if he was my 100th episode of the podcast, that would be a fucking dream. You know what I mean?
How long do you plan on being in the van?
I don't know, dude. That's
Until
the
it's
beautiful
not fun
thing.
anymore?
Yeah.
But are you heading back to California for sure?
Yeah, I definitely have to go back. I would love to find a job where I could work completely internet based. Because I would love to spend the summer in Canada.
Yeah.
There are good surf spots on
sweet.
Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
And
We'll be in Vancouver this summer.
oh really?
Long family reunion.
We're West Coast. We'll be West Coast this summer. I don't know how far south California will get though.
Okay. Well, hit me up because I'm
Yeah.
mobile and like I'll come see you for a few. I have a very permissive
Ideally,
job.
we would be like nuking it out to probably Oregon. I would love to make it out to see Justin and those, and Thomas and Abby. And you got people to see in Portland. And then we're going to Canada.
What's the timeline for that?
Second half of July.
Second half of July. And then we're going to leave from there and head to Lander, Wyoming for another summer of rock climbing there.
Right.
And then we'll get back into the south about second week of
So
September.
how does your job really actually work? Like, what's your... Do you have like a geographic zone where you're selling shit?
Yeah, so like with certain companies, I am contracted to represent that company in certain states. So...
but what about BC? You're going to BC just to go?
Yeah, we're just going to
And
go.
Wyoming? Do you work in Wyoming?
No.
It's just during a time. So he has times where he has to be around and visit shops and stuff.
Right,
but
right.
There's a lot of stuff he can do on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, by email and stuff too.
Dope. And
But
you
we
lose
have
your
to-
legitimacy if you don't climb a lot, so that's part of your job too.
There's
right?
a lot of reps who don't climb
Yeah, but...
or don't do stuff.
Yeah.
But it does help.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
of course.
People
'Cause
see
he
you
uses all
around
the
at
stuff too.
the...
Yeah, and part of our job is we're trying to change the rep game thing too. Historically, it's just been an old white dude being I've known Tommy that owns Davis Outdoors for 40 years, and Tommy
Good
will
old
buy
boy
my
stuff.
carabiners.
Right.
You know, and that shit's kind of over with.
Yeah.
REI, the way they've come in and changed the scene, the way the internet's changed the scene. It's really important that we build these relationships with outdoor shops to try to maintain the spirit of the outdoor community.
Yeah.
So part of what we're doing now is we're starting to gather regionally specific content so that these shops have content of our products available in the region, right? Because like Rab's,
At their local spot.
right?
Or
Because
whatever.
like Rab's a British mountaineering company, and all their imagery is like people climbing in Scotland in mixed winter conditions and
Right.
shit, and that doesn't resonate with the Southeast.
Right.
So we work with like local photographers, and we shoot some photography ourselves and do some things like that to try to like create marketing packages. But then we also help brands or stores curate their selection that they sell with the brand.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Just
Are
work
you?
brand.
Do you have a company, or is it just?
Yep. It's ground up sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I wish it wasn't going to be shitty weather tomorrow because I have a
I know.
drone. You know.
Oh
And
shit.
I would love to shoot some
Yeah.
stuff for you guys, but that ain't gonna happen.
No, it's
No.
not.
Shoot me taking a nap.
With my drone, that's creepy as fuck.
That would be pretty
So
creepy.
artsy. But she's gonna drive the van to Texas, and she's not really piloted the van a whole lot,
I
really try not to.
and it's big.
Yeah.
It doesn't have cruise control,
It doesn't have cruise control.
Oh.
and backing up is terrifying.
Yeah.
I do not
yeah.
like reversing.
I can't
at
even
all.
imagine what that's like. This
can't-
thing drives like a. This is honestly, this is the nicest car I've ever had.
I mean,
it
it's
drives
a
nicer.
minivan,
Yeah.
kind of.
Then-
you know.
Yeah.
But it's also a Mercedes. Like it fucking feels
Oh, yeah.
good, dude.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I had to really get used to is that like you can't see out the back, and so I had to use the little fisheye mirror and the mirrors and the
even
backup camera and
have-
everything.
He parallel parks that van all the time. It's
You don't have a backup camera?
insane. No.
Wow,
He's so good at
Wow.
it. It's insanely impressive.
that's crazy.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just back up till you hear glass break.
All right, dudes. Well, let's call it there.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah, Keurig, doesn't she?
Yeah.
What time do you guys get up in the morning?
Whenever we want.
Okay.
By 8.
I would love to make
8
you
at
some
the
coffee in the
latest.
morning. Like, you should drink a little bit of this
Oh, sure.
Modern Times coffee. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
quite good.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
the place where Colette works.
Come on in anytime. I mean,
I've got the one coffee grinder for the
Yeah.
van, but we just
Yeah.
got as a wedding gift. I got a hand grinder. Oh, you got it for us.
no
shit.
Hello.
She remembered.
Told
I
you
didn't.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I do.
giving us a gift.
I do
That was
remember.
very
I was
sweet.
like looking through the shit, and I was like, "I love coffee." Okay, that's a good enough connection.
Yeah. I try to figure out who I am as a hillbilly these days because, like, I wake up in the morning, I'm all like hand cranking my beans, and then like doing a really nice pour over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, who am I? And I go home and see mom, and I'm like, Mom, you're drinking Folgers, like, ooh.
Oh, Mom, like, ooh, you're drinking Folgers? Actually, ironically, that very last bit there was just sort of cut off because, you know, I don't have a plan and I'm not good at ending things. But I think that one of the wonderful things about this whole van life deal is that a whole bunch of us are doing this because we want to and we have the means to exist in this space that's very unorthodox and unusual. But at the same time, you know, we've been privileged to the point that we can condescend to our mothers about the quality of coffee that they're drinking, even though you live in your car. So that was it. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far to the first episode of From the Van, maybe it'll get more coherent in the future. Maybe it won't. You'll just have to keep tuning in to find out. Again, hit us up on Instagram at From the Van, and we'll talk to you next time.